This is Michaela McLean, and you're listening to Beauty by Design. Hey everyone, welcome back. Thank you for joining me. It's time to talk about our next gate 26. And I don't know, I want to remind you that gift certificates, the holidays are upon us, and you can get gift certificates. So I know I'm always like, hey, free guide. Now the free charts on my website, michaelamclean.com. They're so pretty. And, go get your $11 class, get your yoga nidra. Well, you can also purchase gift certificates for these same things. They make awesome stocking stuffers, like small gifts, $11 and $22. Just really, a really nice way to, you know, do that for people. And you don't actually have to know what design they are or what they have. If it's something that you're passionate about, you're like, hey, human design has helped me so much, so let me gift that on to the next person. Just a really nice way to share it at this time of the year. So of course, that's all on my website. And you can reach out to me through email if you need help with any of that. But yeah, I encourage you to do so. So fun. And then again, I'm working on other things that are coming, classes in the near future, and then also Little Fox projects. So more things to share with you very, very soon, but we'll keep this brief. We'll move on. But of course, all the links are going to be found in the show notes or my Instagram bio at Michaela McLean. And of course, my reminder, my disclaimer for you, don't try to understand all of this at the mental level. Just let the sound current, the energy, and the frequency of beauty sink deep into your cells like good skincare. All right. So we are continuing to progress through Sagittarius into gate 26 in human design, which is located in the heart. And it's also known as the ego or the will center. And this one's part of the tribal ego circuitry. Okay. So tribal circuitry is like the hippie commune, everybody contributing to support, and it's for the survival of the group. So like I said, squad goals, the girl gang, it is the hippie commune. There's a reason why I say that, community over competition. That is the tribe in a nutshell. It's security. That's what they're concerned about, the security of the group. And in the case of the ego sub-circuit, for the tribe, it is all about resources. This is about money and actual material resources, support in that regard for the tribe's survival. And the ego itself, too, to kind of point out, it's always working to rest. That's a really important thing to understand about this energy center because it is a motor. But the prize with it is, and I'm going to quote Ra, the founder of Human Design here, the prize is that you get to a point where you have enough resources that you only have to work when you want to, and the rest of the time you rest. Okay, and the keynote, of course, with tribal energy is support. I scratch your back, you scratch mine. So, to further elaborate on the energy center itself, the heart, aka the ego, aka the will center, it may be the smallest energy motor in the body graph, but it is mighty. This center governs our willpower, our self esteem, and connection to the material world. I always say it's the little engine that could, because it's so little, but it works in exchange for rest, which we've already touched on. And again, that's very important to prevent complete burnout of this motor. So 26 is known as the taming power of the great, the gate of the egoist. And the keynote here is to be the best. It is the salesperson or marketer. This is truly sales and marketing energy here. It's the power of persuasion. So the low expression of 26 is manipulation and trickery. That use car salesman vibe, right? Selling others things they don't actually need out of greed. They can be extremely persuasive and influential, manipulative even. It can be really slick with this messaging and play tricks on people's memories, manipulating others to serve your will and personal gain, selling snake oil, pushing things you don't actually believe in or stand behind, basically having no integrity behind what you're trying to sell to people. No real connection to what you're selling, no connection to the meaning underneath what you're selling, right? And where you're like, deep down, people don't actually need this. You're just trying to make money. But the high expression is correctly influencing the tribe through your words, assisting others to recognize what they actually need to improve their lives. It's helping to pull people into a deeper truth without them even realizing it. So, the high expression is correctly influencing the tribe through your choice of words, assisting others to recognize what they actually need to improve their lives, and basically pulling other people into a deeper truth without them even realizing it. I think that's a really cool thing. The salesperson who doesn't just sell you something, but educates and shares about things with integrity, something that they really stand behind, and only makes promises that they can keep. This is knowing the words to use or how to package and promote things for others' best interest. Knowing that right choice of words or the way to, wrap something up and be able to sway people with it, like something that's like I said, it's good for them. They just don't they're not gonna pick it for themselves, right? You're able to identify that they need this and you know instinctually. I know for me, it's like when I first was doing human design sessions, you know, a number of years ago at this point, but the choice not to call them readings because that word could have like potentially a negative connotation, especially in the aesthetics industry where I'm like, people really don't know what I'm doing and I'm offering these things right alongside of like medical aesthetic procedures. And it was like, no, session sounds better rather than, something that sounds almost like fortune telling. Right. So that was like, hey, okay, I'm going to use better language that would better support, right, the right choice of words of how to package this for people so that it's appealing to them. 26 really is the gift of marketing things, like I said, dressing it up so that they don't people don't know they need or understand just yet. Again, there's the example me with human design. I'm like Mary Poppins, just a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. This is just gonna be helpful, like, just trust me on this. And, yeah, just knowing how to package the goods to make them desirable. Um, 26 can also have the gift of acting, like knowing how to, air quotes, "sell it." Like an amazing deep book or movie or something that people might be too much. It might not appeal to them on the surface, right? And knowing that you need to give it a cover or the preview needs to be a certain way, right? A movie preview is actually a really great example of this. Um, and what kind of comes to mind too is like the Barbie movie, where people are like, "Oh my gosh, we're gonna go see a Barbie movie," and the next thing you know, my daughter and I see it, we're like bawling our eyes out by the end of this movie, it just a really great example. It's like something that you're drawn in by the marketing and the lightness of it, and then you don't realize you're there's gonna be a deeper truth contained within what you're about to experience. And then on the note of 26 wanting to be the best. I have 26. This is me for sure, especially when I was young, with ballet, like, oh my goodness. Yeah, just yeah. Uh, Basically, the hope is like with time and maturity, it can see it's not about being the best. And, because that's subjective, right? But the best version of themselves. This is tribal. Everyone has a place in the tribe. So it's like, yeah, I want to be the best at what I do for sure. And I want to be the best for the people around me. But that whole the best thing is subjective, of course. And again, kind of to go back to this being sales and marketing, it really is the difference between selling to others from the heart versus selling to them from the ego. And it's interesting that that center is known by both names. Okay, and the gene keys, the shadow of this one is pride, the gift is artfulness, and the city is invisibility. The gene keys calls this the sacred trickster. And Richard Rudd says that it has a great deal to do with the correct and harmonious use of will. There is a huge conditioning field on this planet telling you that nothing will ever come to you in life unless you reach out and grab it. At the shadow frequency, you allow your unconscious fear to make you distrust the natural and easy flow of life. Out of this fear, you try to control life by pitting your individual will against the whole. And so the 26th shadow of pride begins to rule your life. If you have enough willpower, you can achieve almost anything. This is the language of the 26th shadow. And it is important to remember that there is nothing wrong with this belief. It is a vital stepping stone to a far higher frequency. However, there are two types of will. There is your will, which, as we shall see, is an illusion, and then there is thy will. Your will is the foundation of human pride. It is the belief that you, as an individual, can control the forces of nature and come out on top. Nowhere in our society is the shadow of willful pride more dominant than in the sphere of business. All modern business is built on this rationale of individual willpower. If you are driven by the 26th shadow, then you, like many others, use your willpower for the sake of personal gain and recognition. In business, this means that to climb to the top, you must consciously or unconsciously push others down. In the modern world, hierarchy, competitiveness, and ego are considered normal and even healthy. Unfortunately, the current definition of health on this planet is based on a very narrow set of criteria. Real health is only found when your inner being is completely at ease with life's inherent uncertainty. The 26th gene key has a strong link to the function of the thymus gland, which is vital to your immune system. Societal conditioning tells you that if you really want something badly enough, you make it happen. If you base your life on this premise, the lower frequencies of the 26th shadow will gradually grind down your immune system response, leading to increased stress and premature aging, not to mention a host of potential problems or diseases associated with the weakening of your immune system. If you try to force life to follow your will, you may well succeed in achieving your goals, but at what cost? By moving against nature, you deny yourself true happiness and replace it with an addiction to stress. You can identify the 26th shadow in a person because they simply cannot relax even for a single moment. The deepest sadness of all is that the 26th gene key contains such effortless magic, but it is effectively negated by the deep-seated and false belief that you cannot get anywhere in life except by sheer force of will. And the gift is heart marketing. When you get to the gift level of the 26th gene key, you learn a very great secret in life. You learn the difference between will and intention. At the lower frequency, the 26th shadow leads you to believe that you must exert huge willpower to attain your dreams in life. The problem here is that at the shadow frequency, you cannot possibly know what your dreams really are. Inside the coils of your DNA, your higher purpose lies concealed. You cannot force that purpose out into the world by sheer force of will. Your higher purpose can only manifest when you surrender your individual will to nature as a whole. This process of surrender begins with the understanding that your higher purpose is something you must tune into rather than impose upon the world. When you first come into contact with your higher purpose in life, you will most likely experience it inside as a subtle intention. The more you listen inwardly, the more deeply you will realize that this intention lies behind everything you do and say in life. Your attitude about this intention determines the success of its manifestation in the world. The 26th gift celebrates your ego without self-judgment and in full awareness. When this gift awakens, you realize that there is absolutely nothing wrong with pride. Pride is simply a low-frequency word for the same energy that can be called artfulness. When you learn how to use pride creatively, it becomes something powerful and even beautiful. The 26th gift loves attention. It is designed to draw attention. This gift is about the love of selling something to someone, whether a product, yourself, or a truth. The 26th gift represents the love of marketing, of dressing something up so that others will buy into it. In order to sell a product or a truth, you have to put yourself in the limelight. You have to embrace the energy of pride and ego that lies within all humans and use it in service of your higher purpose. Through the gift of artfulness, your ego actually becomes an art form. At a higher frequency, freed from fear, the 26th gift sells itself through love. This is heart marketing. And regarding manipulation, as long as manipulation is open and honest, it can be a beautiful thing. Art is a subtle form of manipulation, as is music. Human beings can be moved from lower frequencies to higher frequencies through manipulation. And this is where the 26th gift excels. It lets you know you are being manipulated so that you can give in and allow yourself to be swept away or reject what is being offered. It is a game for the 26th gift. Through this gift, you manipulate your own ego in order to manipulate someone else's ego. The difference between the frequency of the shadow and the gift is that when you are operating from the 26th shadow, you are effectively consumed by your own ego and its voracious need to feed off success, recognition, and dominance. When you are manifesting the 26th gift, you are not identified with your own ego. It is simply something you use, like a costume you put on before a show. And when it comes to the city of invincibility, he says it is the ability to become one with your environment, to camouflage yourself so as to appear invisible. This is the difference between the embodiment of my will and thy will. It's someone who has become one with existence, one with whom God is at play. The 26th gene key, as we have seen, carries the quality of ego within it, and it is adept at marketing. At the citic level, these gifts are played with for the sole purpose of divine fun. Those who manifest this city teach humanity to take life less seriously. They trick us into the great truths. Okay, so my notes here, this is part of a projected channel. So, of course, projector rules apply, seen, recognized, invited. You need to be invited to be that salesperson and marketer for the tribe, which we will discuss here in a moment. Um, of course, again, it's originating from the heart, the ego, and that means that it is working to rest. I already mentioned this, but I want to reiterate it. That raw quote, it's like the prize is that you get to the point where you have enough resources that you only have to work when you want to. The rest of the time you rest. This is coming from the heart, from the ego. And the key there is that you are working to rest. It is always, the work is always in exchange for getting ample rest. Okay, so the programming partner, meaning where the sun is at. So we're sun in gate 26. The earth is automatically opposite in Gemini gate 45. And 45 is known as gathering together. It's the gate of the gatherer, a design of a materialist. This is one of the money or abundance gates in human design. These people are often very good at handling finances, or they may really like to spend the money. And the keynote here is I have or have not. It's the king or queen leading through education. And again, we're talking ego circuitry, right? Which is concerned with the safety and the well-being of the group, of the survival, the support of the group. And so this is where we've got hierarchy, loyalty, right? It takes a village, and each person has a role in the tribe, of course, assigned to each person. And in turn, it means that you were provided for and kept safe. And so 45, it's like I said, it's the king or the queen. It has dominion and it directs others. These people are not necessarily here to work, but to protect and provide the resources for the tribe. It's a leadership gate, is considered the singular voice of the tribe, but it actually is the only throat gate in all of tribal circuitry. But it's got its ups and downs. So the low expression here is that it's like me, not taking the tribe into consideration, exerting dominance over other people, showy ownership, possessiveness, hoarding material resources for one's own benefit, power trips, appointing oneself the king or the queen. Yeah. So, being kind of like the sugar daddy, but I'm going to dangle the carrot. Like I have the resources that you need. And it can also show up as letting others dominate you and not embracing your power. But the high expression of it is, it is a voice of authority. And I always think it's sort of that element of like, I think I speak for us all, because it is the outlet for the ego circuitry in the throat. And while it's not meant to be democratic, it's definitely not meant to be used for an individual ego trip. This is about managing and directing others in a benevolent way for their own good and the good of the group. It's also about sharing material resources with your tribe, to support and care for the whole. It's about the ability to bring your tribe together, again, the gate of the gatherer, to obtain what the whole group needs. These people can be powerful leaders who provide for the people. They direct the group to success. And when used in a very high vibe way, 45 is incredibly generous with the resources it's been able to acquire. That one is actually part of a manifested channel, so very much about informing the people around them. Boss them around. uh, The gate that completes the channel. So back to our channel of surrender, we've got, Scorpio, gate 44. They come together and make that particular channel. 44 is known as coming to meet. It's the gate of alertness. And the keynote here is the fear of the past, awareness through smell for the talents and potentials of others or not, fear that past baggage will catch up with you. This is a fear of extinction of the tribe, right? We're gonna be wiped out. It's a fear of like, "Hey, I remember our needs not being met in the past." I say it's kind of a gate of like deja vu or Groundhog's Day. 44 is, like I said, it's the gate of alertness, the gate of cellular memory, and it is specifically attuned to patterns of the past. This is the nose being able to sniff things out. And again, it's ego circuitry. So I'm like, it smells like team spirit. The nose knows with this channel or this gate, excuse me, but its role in this channel that we're talking about. The low expression of 44 is a fear of the past repeating itself, coming back to haunt you. So, anxiety, right? It's coming from the spleen, spiraling out on all the negativity that's happened before, crippled by the possibility of it happening again. Once upon a time, something really bad happened. So, I'm just going to let that hold me back and kind of mess with me and give me anxiety forever going forward. So it can be distrustful as a protective mechanism. It can contain paranoia, they thought loop on the past, on negative experiences, or they just keep repeating these broken patterns because they aren't tapped into and using their intuitive gifts. Excuse me. In its high expression, it is an attunement to patterns of the past. If you are aware and alert to the potential for repetition, you will be better equipped to navigate the future. Right? It's kinda like, "Hey, this isn't the first time I've smelled this fishy situation." There's the déjà vu. It carries incredible pattern recognition. You have experienced this before, or maybe you haven't, but it's in your cellular memory. Maybe it's generational, right? But you're like, "I'm aware. This has happened. I'm aware. I'm ready for danger." Right? Spleen, well-being, watch now. So again, instead of it being like, "Oh, once upon a time, something really terrible happened, and now I'm scared off forever." It's like, no, I'm aware and I'm alert. I'm laughing because, um, I think I talked about this when I did the Gate 44 episode, but to me, I'm like, I've been out on a walk where I had a skunk jump out at me and hiss at me with its tail up, right? Smell. I'm like, "Oh, so if I jump out of the way and I run," and, in one of my early morning walks, and I was like, "Oh my goodness." So what do I do now? If I'm out walking and I smell a skunk, it's like, "Hey, you be on the lookout for the skunk." I'm not gonna stop walking. It just means I'm gonna be, like, extra careful. There are a lot of skunks in our area. So anyway, that's how you would wanna use that, right? You wanna be wise about it. But yeah, 44, this deep, deep intuitive wisdom on a cellular level. And also a little note, with 44, it's a mundane love gate where it's about successful love, material success through, like, the people that you're sniffing out and bonding with. And like I mentioned, deja vu, the body's cellular memory. This is like these things that are stored here that really are so deep in your cells that you may not even be aware of them, like old fears. This is like the old, old, old original, gate out of the oldest center in the body graph. This one is also extrasensory, so it's clairolfactant, right? So think of how scent is tied to memory. If things don't smell right, if people don't smell right, very important that you're not getting, mixed up with them or whatever the thing is. And it's going to sniff out patterns, right? It knows when something smells off. I always say if you have this, make sure that you're eliminating artificial scents in your environment. This is going to cloud your intuitive abilities. Like all tribal energy, these gates, 26 and 44, they really benefit from being with people in real life. And in the case of 44, it's because they really need to sniff people out. They're really going to be hyper alert of who and what isn't or is correct for them, especially based on smell. And you need to be with people, right? You can't smell somebody necessarily through a Zoom screen. So anyway, when the two come together, here we've got 26 in the heart, it's a motor, it's willpower, it's self-esteem, connection to the material world, it's money, connecting to 44, the intuitive instincts of the spleen, right? Rooted in history. So this is really like a deeply intuitive ego. 44 has the people skills, 26 has the sales ability. 44 is the instincts of the spleen center connecting to that sheer, like, I want to make it happen power of the heart or ego center. So I'm like, here we are, we're smelling and we're selling. And when then the two come together to form the channel of surrender. It's also known as a design of a transmitter, aka intuitively knowing how to transmit your sales message and persuade others. It's one of the creative channels. It's about being a business entrepreneur, selling some kind of, air quotes, improvement, replacement, upgrade to the tribe. This is literally the sales and marketing channel. Sales and marketing is manipulation. You are manipulating people into buying things. So, looking at those two together, it's selling. What is it selling? Health and well being, longevity, and self esteem, self worth, deservingness. These people can awaken and alert the tribe to the needs its people didn't know they had. They instinctively know what the group needs before the people themselves know they need it. So I think with this one, it's like a fashion buyer intuiting next season's trends ahead of time. We've got 44, fashion recycling itself, trends coming back around after like 20, 30 years. And then 26 is like knowing how to sell it to you, how to repackage it. Say it's like hideous 90s mom jeans, and other tragic wears from that era, and that you see people wearing. You're like, wow, okay, so that's happening. Somebody in 26 was able to kind of like package that up, right? Oh my goodness. Anyway, this is a channel that truly needs a healthy work rest balance. This is absolutely positively not the person meant to be grinding away 24/7. It's projected, it's supposed to be super efficient with its work, right? And it defines the ego. So in one of the deeper books, Ra Uru, founder of human design, he says the following when discussing this specific channel, which again would define the heart or the ego center. He says, whether they deserve it or not, ego people will always demand much more than non-ego people. I don't have this full channel defined, and I will co-sign that. Like a lot of people that I know with the ego defined, it is just like a totally different thing. Totally different. It's like me, I'm like, okay, I'll take whatever, like, and the people with the ego are like, no, absolutely not. I'm going to charge like triple and tax. And, I am so worthy and deserving. It's like, even if not really, like by comparison, but they will demand it. It's really not about the worker doing manual labor 24/7. This is the salesperson who markets and makes a single lucrative deal selling the company's product, right? Then they negotiate themselves a higher commission and go take a vacation. Again, it's projected. So do less, get more situation here. This channel is all about marketing to the tribe. It's always trying to sell to people and make money. If you have it, I just say make sure you're doing it with integrity and a really pure heart, like really truly what's best for your tribe, for your people, not just to make a buck. And it should only be making promises it can keep, because otherwise it's going to erode your reputation and your self-esteem. Again, that's another really important thing to know if you have a defined heart or ego center. Um, Promises that you can keep, always, always. And also a little side note, not only does it need to function with integrity, it is, again, projected, so it needs an invitation. Like, does your tribe always want to be sold to? Just thought, just thought. Again, for this channel, I repeat, invitation and integrity with the tribe in mind, not just to feed your ego or line your pocket. So astrologically, this is a semi-sextile between Scorpio and Sagittarius in this channel. And this is occurring in the fourth quarter of the wheel, purpose fulfilled through transformation. And I think this is transforming about what the Gene Key spoke about, like getting over your human ego and doing things from the heart, like a very heart-centered place. I already mentioned this. I don't have the 44, but I do have the 26. This is my design. So my design Neptune, the one in red, Neptune is about spirituality, and it's the sixth line. So I have 26.6. I mentioned the sixth line and also Neptune because I have never, ever identified with the salesperson thing. In fact, I think myself, and I have innocence motivation as a 4/1. I'm like, I'm terrible at selling, right? And Neptune, I sat with this, as I'm compiling my notes, and I was like, maybe that's it. Maybe I'm selling spirituality here, being able to draw people into a deeper truth in this way. I was kind of like, wow, yeah, actually, even what I said about calling it sessions, not readings, when I was first offering this, still being in a medical aesthetics clinic, it's like I look like any other girl coming to get you for a facial. I don't have tattoos. I don't have any, like nothing that was gonna like make me look any different. I'm wearing my little black fig scrubs that come out, and come on back with me. Again, just I mean, I'm sure if you listen to this, you know what I look like. It's just like, yep, okay, she just looks like anybody else. And here I am like, and now I'm gonna blow your mind, educate you about this like super deep stuff. The sixth line, it's a role model. So sharing and educating with integrity only. And truly, even when it was skin and strictly skin for me, it's like I will only and have ever only promoted things that I really truly love and I stand behind and I believe. I just can't be bothered otherwise, right? To me, it's not an integrity for me. But I also really relate to the marketing thing. I did marketing merchandising in college. Like I love all the user experience stuff, marketing psychology. Again, I'm a 4-1, love psychology. I'm designed to really be fascinated by the way people work, which duh, look at what I do now, I love it. I live for that. Yet somehow I know all these things, but I still don't know how to use it to sell to people. Which cracks me up. But I do know how to package things up beautifully, right? And then I'm like, oh, is that my gate 22? Is that my Venus and Pisces, like knowing how to make things pretty? But that kind of actually leads me to like a whole other thing. I'm off on a tangent, but how I like to do. But when you zoom out, you just realize you're like, we've zoomed in so deeply on like, hey, okay, I have 26.6. And what does this mean? And then it's like, oh, zoom out. Oh yeah, and what about 22? And I'm a 4-1 and I'm this and I'm that. And that leads me to a greater point that applies to everyone here is that nothing in our charts exists in isolation. You go deep in one area and you realize like this is where I'm getting this piece, but oh my goodness, it works with every other sort of little piece of the puzzle in my chart. And that's where, from myself, this is from a different place in my chart, but it's like synthesizing all of this information is really something that comes very naturally to me is like, how does this all work together to like tell a story about a person? And that's like one of my favorite things to do with all of this information is really get into it with other people. I don't know. Anyway, don't even ask me where I was going with that. I think there was a point. It's gone. Anyway, do you have this in your chart? So looking at the little triangle, that would be where your heart is. 26 is going to be aiming at the spleen. So if it's colored in black, red, or both red and black, you have it defined in your chart. That's what mine looks like. The center is white and then it does not connect to anything else. But maybe you don't have it filled in. Look over to the other side and see is 44 defined? Because if it is, you're going to get this full channel for approximately 6 days. And maybe you don't have any of it at all. And that's fine too. I'm always like, check out the charts of the people that you know. Be aware of this energy. See how you're experiencing it this week. That's the cool thing. If you don't have something, you're meant to become wise about that. So don't turn your ears off. Pay attention to see like, and especially with ego, what's healthy, what's not healthy. So yeah, hit me up on Instagram. Let me know. I'm always curious how this plays out. Again, I'm a 4-1, so I am curious in the observation of human beings. I'm like an anthropologist. Okay. So anyway, remember to check out the show notes and go follow me over on Instagram at Michaela McLean, where I share energy tips, beauty and wellness tips that relate to where the sun is at each week. That's always pinned to my post. Yeah. And frequencies, crystals, essential oils, all the yummy things that really can kind of like help make this etheric information more tangible for you. Okay, I'll be back soon with more. If this episode was of value to you, I would love it if you would leave it a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts to help more people discover this information. If you're listening on another platform like Spotify, hit the 5 stars. They only let you leave a review, but I would super appreciate that. And if you would like to learn more human design, of course, check out the free guide, the 11 classes, the yoga nidras, gift certificates if that interests you for the holidays to gift to somebody. And of course, like I said, email me if you have any concerns, and we'll get you taken care of. Yeah. And more new, fun, cool things are on the way. I'm really excited for the new year. Check out that 2024 preview episode with Ryan, where we walk you through stuff. But I think there's a really cool, fresh energy coming, and I'm definitely going to be bringing neat things in with that new energy. All right. Of course, until next time, have a beautiful day.